Hey kids, Flexing Teacher Weber here. I hope you're having a good day. I've got another algebra video here. This one has the pattern near a star on it. And this one's a little bit more of a complicated pattern. You can see in figure 1, there are 3 stars. In figure 2, there are 5. In figure 3, there are 7. Now the key thing to look at here are the top and the bottom, right? Every time there's a star being added to the top and the side. Top and side. So the first thing the kids had to do in this pattern is draw the first 4 figures. Now the 4th one wasn't drawn for them in this one, so they had to notice that pattern there, and then they could have a situation that looks like this. So in the next one, I'll draw some stars like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, but then I have to add 1 there. And then this one, 1, 2, 3, but I have to add 1 more on the top. So you can see for this one there's 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, right? So in the 4th pattern there are 9 stars. So the kids had to start off drawing that. Next thing they had to do was make a table of values comparing figure and stars. So I'm going to write here figure and stars. And we're going to label this with the variable x and the variable y. And we have to do the first 5 figures. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it went 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, and we can see that the pattern is probably increasing by 2 in the stars column. So we can logically say in figure 5 there'll be 11 stars. And that describes how the pattern is growing or changing. For every figure, comma, 2 stars are added. Okay, and that gets us into the pattern. Now what we really want to do is get into the algebra here. So this next part says find the pattern rule and express it as an algebra expression. So the pattern rule or the algebra expression is what are you doing to the x to get the y? What are you doing to the x to get the y? And it has to be the same every time. So a common mistake people will make is this. Okay, I can do 1 plus 2 is 3. But 2 plus 2 is 4, not 5, and 3 plus 2 is 5, not 7. So for it to be the pattern rule or the algebra expression, it has to work every single time. So one of the things I tell the kids is look at this. This increase by 2 gives us a clue. The increase by 2 tells us that the pattern rule will start off as times 2 every time. However, you're going to look at that and say, but 1 times 2 does not get you 3. So what else would you do to get 3? Well, you'd add 1. Now, does this work every time? 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So that works every time. And you can see here the algebra expression or the pattern rule has 2 parts. It's times 1 plus 2. So for that pattern rule, we'd say figure times 1 plus 2. But I want to try to write it as an algebra expression using the proper terminology for algebra. So just like the last pattern, how do we show figure times 2 or x times 2? Because we're having x represent the figures, it's not going to be a multiplication sign. So to show x times 2, we're going to write that as 2x. And then all we have to do is add 1 onto that. 2x plus 1. And we call that the algebra expression. This means 2 multiplied by the figures, because figures are x, plus 1. And that's the proper way we write an algebra expression. This means 2 times the figures plus 1. All right. Now the next question says use that pattern rule to show the 10th term. That means use the pattern rule to show how many stars in figure 10, or use the pattern tool to figure it out when x is equal to 10. Well, here's what we do. We're going to take our algebra expression. We're going to write 2 times the number of figures plus 1. We're going to replace the x with 10. Remember, this means 2 times 10. But we're going to show this multiplication with parentheses. We're going to say 2 times 10 plus 1. Well, I know 2 times 10 is 20 plus 1, which means this is stars though. In the 10th pattern, there will be 21 stars. We use the algebra to get that. If it was the 100th pattern, there'd be 201 stars. If it was the 1000th pattern, there'd be 2 times 1000 plus 1. There'd be 2001 stars. So that's how the algebra expression can help us get any answer to the question. 2 times the figure plus 1. In this case, 2 times 10 plus 1 is 21. Next thing we're going to do is write 5 ordered pairs. Ordered pairs are points on a graph. An ordered pair is an x and a y value separated by a comma in parentheses. We can get those ordered pairs from the table. 1, 3, 2, 5, 3, 7, 4, 9, 5, 11. Let's write those ordered pairs. So the first one is 1, 3. Then 2, 5, 3, 7, 4, 9, and 5, 11. Okay? These are all points on a graph. And we're going to graph this now. Again, the graph is going to compare figures on the x and stars on the y. The x-axis is the horizontal one. We'll call it figures. Our figures were going up by 1s again, so we can do the same x-axis as last time. Where the cross is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's our x-axis. Our y-axis we will call stars. And our y-axis, we have to look and create a proper scale for this. Now our y-axis goes 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Now you got to be careful here. I can't do this. I can't say 3, 5, 7. Because check this out. This distance from here to here is 3. And then you said this same distance from here to here is 2. So we have to put a little more thought into our scale on the y-axis. We can't just go ahead and do that. So we've got to reverse a bit. There we go. I think what we'll do, if we just went up by 2s, every middle line would be the odd number, right? If I said, okay, right here is 1, and this will be 2. This next line would be 3, and this would be 4. And then we're going to have a nice consistent scale in our graph. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess I could label every line, but then it gets really, really busy with numbers. 12, 14, 16, 18. And there's our y-axis. Now, when we go to graph these, the first point is 1 on the x and 3 on the y. So we'll do this. Across 1 on the x and 3 on the y, this is 2, that's 4, so this is 3. There's 1, 3. Then 2 on the x, 5 on the y. Just going to double check everything here, yep. Then next, 3 on the x, 7 on the y. There's 7 right there. Then 4 on the x and 9 on the y. So start at 0, x first, y second. And then finally, 5, 11. 5 on the x, 11 on the y, right there. And you can see we have another linear relationship. This linear relationship, it's called a linear math equation. And it represents the equation, the expression we found on the previous page, 2x plus 1. This is the pattern of figures and stars. We can represent it as a graph. We can represent it as points in a graph. We can represent it as an algebra expression. We can talk about it in words. We can represent it as numbers. And we can represent this algebra pattern as a picture. If you watch these kinds of videos, you too will be an algebra star. The kids have an assignment for tonight. They have to do this exact same thing with the pattern called puppy love. Today in class, they copied down this pattern, and then they had to do one of these and these for puppy love. I hope that helps. That's all for now. Flexing Teacher Weber, out.